What if there was an AI tool that helped you organize your life, helped you organize your family's life, and kept track of all of your business meetings, and also helped you launch a course? And lastly, what if it was free? Well, there is, and that product is called Google's Notebook LM. And today I'm going to walk you through 4 use cases that shows you how useful this product is when you actually build workflows around it and start organizing your systems. You're going to find that there is massive utility in this product that often gets overlooked. Let's get into what we can do. The first workflow that I want to show you is what I call my idea factory. And this is the easiest one to demonstrate because it's something that all of us do every day. We have a lot of thoughts, we have a lot of ideas, and it's tough to get those recorded into notes if you're not being intentional about it. So that's what I do. I take my phone, and typically when I'm walking outside, I'll have my most creative moments. I am now in the habit of taking the voice memo app on my phone, and I will record my ideas of the day. Some are good, some are bad, but I want to come back to them later on when I've got more time to think it through. What I do with that app is I'll take the voice note. It gets automatically transcribed. And within my mobile app, I can copy that transcription right into a Google Notebook on my mobile device. And here you'll see that I have an idea for this very presentation that I recorded a few weeks ago when I was first thinking about this. Now, this is just an example notebook that I started. I've got one of my other notebooks with tons of these ideas in there. And this is an easy way to start just collecting your thoughts. And each time you do, it becomes a new source. And in the video overlay I just showed you, you'll see how easy it is by just taking a transcript, copying it, and then you've got your source right here, and you can start asking questions about it. And as you start stacking up more of your notes, you can start cross-referencing ideas. Now, this is a way for you to keep your personal life in order, whether it's ideas or things that you know you need to get done over the course of the next week or so. It's really easy to grab them and put them in the Google Notebook LM. And one of the reasons why I use this versus another AI product is because anytime you have a chat within Google Notebook LM, it's in its own container. It doesn't hallucinate. It's really only looking at the sources that you have here. Now, this is a pretty simple example, but let's go to something that's a little bit more profound. In my extended family, I have some aging relatives who just have a lot of doctor appointments. And this is one of those things that I think all of us can identify with if we have aging relatives. And those doctor appointments start to stack up. And usually there's somebody that goes to the doctor and collects some notes and tries to communicate it out to the rest of the family. It's a lot of work. There are a lot of details. It's emotional. It's distressing. There's often a lot of stress and just anxiety around these visits. And then you have to go back and remember everything and then start to make decisions, often lots of other people. So in this example I'm going to show you, I'm going to build another notebook where you can start collecting information. So it's really easy to create a new notebook. And the way that I do it though, is even when you hit the create new notebook button, it's going to come up with this window. I like to label them first. I'm just going to call this doctor visits. And then I've got it in there. Now I can start adding sources. Now, what I'm going to show you is just some examples of some made up doctor notes, just to illustrate the point of how easy this is. So again, just go to your sources. In this case, I'm going to do a copy and paste of text. And now I'm going to paste in one example of a fictional doctor's appointment from a cardiologist. And then I'm going to do another one, same process. I'll copy some text. And this is going to be another doctor visit. Now you can see how as these start to stack up, you will have a lot of visits like this if you're going through this in your own family. And after you get 10, 15, 20, it's really hard to keep track of everything. So now you have one container in this notebook to add all of these notes. And when you start meeting together as a family, you can decide, hey, I want to just go over this one meeting on September 19th, 2025. And you can start asking questions about the notes in that visit. Or you can go to a different appointment and do the same type of thing. Or if you want to get all of them, you can start asking questions and getting a trend across all of the visits. Now, this is just a very simplified version of what we're doing in real life with actual people. In my real life version, we have dozens of doctor visits and notes that are shared between the family. And this provides a huge sense of relief because for the people who weren't at that appointment, you now have a way to look at a bunch of notes all at once and start asking questions. And each of you who has access to this notebook can have your own chat interface and ask your own questions. And that's where some of this power comes from. And when you're using a Google Notebook from a Gmail account, a free Gmail account, you have the option of sharing that with other people. And that's exactly what we're doing. Now, in that same example, to build this around a workflow that's consistent, I've built some automations behind the scenes. So with Notebook, you can't automatically add content in there, but you can get very organized with how you add content to it. And what I mean by that is, you'll remember in my last example, I clicked on the add button and I just copy and pasted text. But one of the powers of this is that it's connected to your Google Drive account. So you can click on Google Drive and then you'll see this is empty. But in my other account, I will have a folder that is just specifically for doctor visits. And in that folder, I have documents with each one of those. And that makes it really easy to add new documents to this notebook. And what we do in that situation is actually have an automation, which I'll show you a behind the scenes look of that. So in that example, I am using a product called make.com, and I just have what is called a custom mail hook. It's an email address that lives in a cloud. And anytime that we collect notes, we send those notes to this email address, and I convert the content of that email into Markdown just so it's easier to read. And then I put it into a Google Doc. And then I upload that Google Doc right up into, you guessed it, Google Drive, right where I can find it. So now every time there's one of those doctor visits, my family member who is there at the doctor's office, all they have to do is email the notes to the rest of the family and add that one additional email address that goes to make.com. And then that email, when it's received, initiates that process where it converts it into a document. And then immediately that document is going to show up here and I can add it to the knowledge source. So that's an easy way to start building an automated workflow into a system where you can share this information and knowledge with a lot of people. Okay, so let's move on to my next example. And this is one that I depend on all the time. And this example is every time I have a client meeting, I typically record them and I have the transcript. And each one of those, I will take that transcript and add that as a source. Okay, so here is an example to show you what I mean by that. Now, in this case, I am in another Notebook LM account, and this is part of my Google Workspace account. What's unique about this is that in my workspace, this notebook is only shareable within my organization. So when you're starting to load sensitive information like notes with clients and other type of meetings, you may want to keep that inside your organization. And this is where having a Google Workspace account enables that, because in this case, even if I wanted to share it, I can only share it with personnel inside my Google Workspace organization. Now, back to this example. Every time we have a meeting, and I've just got a few of them queued up here, I take the transcript of that meeting and I'll load it up as a source using the same method that I showed before. I'll typically do a copy and paste in here, and then I'll go over here and I will rename the source so it has a date in it, so it's easy for me to find. And now, next time that I'm going to meet with this client, I can go back to one of our more recent meetings and I can start asking what were the action items from the meeting. And this takes all of the burden off of me, not only having to take notes from the meeting, but I can go back and I can actually have a chat within Google Notebook just about the meeting. And so this is a powerful way to not only keep track of what you've done in the past, stay aligned with what you need to do next, go back and visit trends over all of your meetings, and really get a sense of how the relationship has transpired over time. Imagine if you had a notebook for every one of your signature client relationships and you started capturing details from each of the meetings. You would have a massive amount of intelligence and information that you generated together. And this is where I think comes the true power of something like Notebook LM, because it's not just for me to stay on track with what I need to do as an output of those meetings. This documents the relationship of what we're doing together. And over time, it's easy for us humans to forget what we talked about months ago. But now we have this profound advantage where we can go back and revisit trends over the course of time. And this is where we can start using some of these other tools that come with Notebook LM. For example, you can build an audio overview. And what it is just AI generated voices, but it sounds like two people in a podcast. And Google has since upgraded how this operates. So you can now generate a deep dive analysis. You can do very short ones. You can do a critique, a debate. So there's a lot more options that you can use now with these audio overviews. But this is another way, if you really want to keep on top of what's happening across these meetings, you can transform it from a text summary into an audio overview and take that with you. There's so many ways that you can leverage and apply this to your professional life as well as your personal life. Now, the last use case I'm going to show you is one that I'm really excited about because I think this represents where online courses and learning is going. And so by way of example, I'm going to bring up a notebook that I created. And this notebook has 30 different YouTube videos as sources. And these videos are from when I created an AI 30-day challenge in late 2024. And what I wanted to do is see if this was a useful way to consume information and also help people leverage the best tiny little bits and pieces from all those videos. And so if you imagine what an online course typically is, it's a collection of videos, maybe some worksheets, and you have to sit there and watch it and then take action after it. It's very linear. It takes time, and you have to make your own time to sit down in front and watch a video and then take action. What's unique about Notebook LM is now that we can add sources as YouTube videos. And just to show you, you can take and click on add source and then click on YouTube. And you just need to put the YouTube URL in. And that's what I've done with each one of these videos. And what Notebook LM does is it takes the transcript from these videos, and just the transcript. It doesn't know what the description is. It doesn't know if there's any links in the description or any of the metadata. It just knows a transcript. But it can take that transcript and now you can start asking questions about these videos. So if you are a course creator or somebody who's developing curriculum, you can add your own notes on top of this. And those notes could be something like a prompt. So this could be a note that you put in, and just let's pretend there were 10 prompts that I put in here. And I'm just going to insert that in there. But this now is a collection of instructions that you could package with these videos. So if I'll go ahead and take this prompt and I'll just start pasting it in, and it's going to go ahead and grab content from across all of these 30 plus videos and then build out some information that is relevant to your question. And you'll see here in all of these sources, it's going to show you specifically where it's getting the information from. And then as you scroll through it, then it's going to bring up the video that was in that source. So this is where I think it gets really powerful, because you can take any one of these bullet points and then look at the sources and say, okay, I want to go see where they came from. Let's watch that video and drill into that point. So this now turns into something completely different from that typical asynchronous coursework where you as the user is watching a video and then taking action all by yourself. Now you can watch a video and you can ask questions along the way. And if you're a content creator, now start thinking about what are all the questions that your audience is going to ask of you, and start answering those in your videos, or add additional knowledge sources that will accompany those and build that into your knowledge source. So now for somebody who's consuming a course, you have something like this where you can start asking questions in an interactive way. You can get so much more out of the course. So I wanted to bring all of this up because I think Notebook is one of those overlooked products that is quite amazing and is quietly getting more and more capabilities behind the scenes. I just talked about how I think this is the future, how coursework is going to be built on. And it may not be Google Notebook LM, but it will be an AI assisted interface where you have content such as videos and documents, and the user will be able to interact with the AI entity. And Notebook is the easiest way to do that now. So I've done that very thing where I've taken this notebook and I've shared it in my community as a way for people to test out and see, hey, is this an easy and fun and useful way to explore content? But I already know from my experience going back and revisiting some of this is a massive upgrade to the typical consumption only version of taking courses. So this is a way that I'm going to start building content from now on, making sure that it's easy to get into Notebook LM and share these notebooks with the people in my group. Now, if this is something that's of interest to you, if you want to check out this in the group, you'll find a link to that in the description below, and it's free to get in. So I hope this video was useful to you. If you're thinking about using Notebook LM, I fully encourage you to start going and trying it out. And the last thing I will add is that Notebook LM is free if you have a Gmail account, and it's buried when you go up to the toolbar, it's buried down here at the bottom. One other thing though, when you're using a free account, there are some limitations on how many notebooks you can create and how many knowledge sources that you can build. And then when you'll see in some accounts, you'll see on mine right here, it says Pro. This is still a free Gmail account, but I subscribe to some of the Google products where I get additional storage. And when I do that, you actually get upgraded to the Pro account. And then finally, if you have a Google Workspace, that is another additional Pro account that you have. But this one, if you remember, this one has the guardrails around it. I cannot share any of these notebooks externally outside my organization. So if you have a Google Workspace, this is a great place to share information with your team within a company. If you want the full power of Google LM and have the ability to create lots of notebooks and add lots of sources, subscribe to one of Google's products like storage, and you'll get the Pro account. And if you just want to play with it for free, then take your Gmail account. And once you log in, it'll be right down there at the bottom, Notebook LM. So I hope this is inspiring. I hope this motivates you to start using the product. And I'm looking forward to hearing about how you are implementing Notebook LM in your life, in your business, and in your world. Okay, take care. See you next time.